This is the part 2 of my pencil skirt tutorial. I'll be cutting my waistband now, my curved waistband. So first thing first, I fold my fabric in two and I draw a top line. From that top line, I'll be marking out my measurements on the fabric. So I pin my fabric in place so the fabric doesn't shift when I'm drawing or making my markings on it. So my waist measurement is 7 inches. I'm going to mark that on the waistband, on the top line rather. And after I do that, I'll be adding an allowance of 1 inch. I'm cutting the front waistband first. So I add allowance of 1 inch. Now I go back to my line of fold and mark 3/4 inches. Then I get my French curve and curve it out. I got this French curve from AliExpress. It actually came in a set and I'm going to link that up in the description box below. So after curving it out, that's the part that gives your waistband the curve. From that curve, I mark my length of waistband. For me, I want it to be 1 inch and then another 1 inch for turning allowance. So I'm going to be marking 2 inches now all the way to the end of my measurement. Remember, now I have 8 inches in length of my weight for my waistband, and then I use my French curve to curve it out. So once I do that, I make sure to measure it to ensure that I have the same measurements as the one above at the top, and then I mark and join and of course cut it out. So as you can see, it's very simple when you want to cut a curved waistband. There's nothing difficult there. So I use this to also cut, after cutting the front, I use this to cut the back, and I put allowance of 1 inch. And this is because I'm going to be cutting the back into 2. If you still want your waistband to have an extra allowance, you can make that 2 inches. So I separate them out. Now after cutting my waistband, I'm going to be attaching what is called a fusible interlining or stay. This is because I want the waistband to be sort of to have structure basically. So I use a heat source. That's basically what I do to fuse the fabric and that interlining or stay. And then once I'm done with that, I trim off the excesses, and here is my waistband. This is the front piece. You can see the curve right there, and that is the interlining fused to the fabric. Then the back piece, I've already cut it in 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and join my front pieces first by 1/2 inch at the top, that is at the curved area inwards. I like to measure before I sew so I don't get shortened. I don't have a shortened length at the end of the day. So I make sure to follow the curve as I sew, so at the end of the day it comes out. Now once I'm done with this portion of the waistband, I just go ahead and do the back. Yeah, see, this is the curve. I go ahead and do the back piece, but for the back piece I close the area where the zip will be. This is it right here. I close the area where the zip will be. So you have a closed end and an open end on the 2 pieces, but for the front piece I left both sides open. So now I'm going to be joining my back piece, my back waistband, each of them. This is the sewn area where the arrow is pointing. So now I'm going to be joining my back piece to my front piece by 0.75 inches. Remember, I gave 1 inch on my waistband. I cut off 0.25 inches from the front before joining. So I'm joining by 0.75 inches. The thing is, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to trim off those excess so that it doesn't make my waistband look bulky. So I'm done joining my waistband. Now I'm going to be joining the waistband to the skirt. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Now the portion of the waistband that is going to be on the inside, as you can see on the inside, I join it to my skirt by 1/2 inch. Now the right side, I don't know how to explain this, but the right side of the inside waistband is touching the wrong side of my skirt. Hope that is better explained. And I make sure that the joining on the waistband aligns to my side seam on my skirt. And I go ahead from I usually like to start from the center to the end. Do the same thing for the other side as well. So that's exactly what I'm doing, from the center again all the way to the end. This is such that if I have any issues with some excesses at the end of the day, I can be able to adjust it on that end. That's why I like to sew from the center. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to fold my waistband in. Yeah, first of all, I poke out the edges of the waistband so it comes out well. I fold it in. And while sewing my waistband to my skirt, remember I've already sewn peplum to this pencil skirt, so I just followed the stitching. The stitching is my guide. I followed the stitching. So now I've folded it in and it's time to sew my waistband. So here also, I also follow the stitching that I have made underneath, so I don't have any stitches showing on the outside of my skirt. And right here, I'm not starting from the center as I did earlier. I'm starting from the beginning and I move all the way to the end. So for that side seam band area, I had to trim off the excess inside so it is not very bulky. So I'm done with my waistband, but because my fabric is stretchy, even after fusing with interlining, I noticed that I had like a little bit of excess of about 0.25 inches, which I'm going to show you later in the video. Yeah, here it is. I've already attached my hook and eye. So this is the first part, and that is the portion where I had the little excess there, but I'm just going to leave it like that. My hook and eye is attached, it's not a problem, but if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, just make sure you trim off the excess on the inside and then sew your band back. So this is what I have after sewing my waistband, and I zip up. That's it. So the next thing I'm going to do is finish up my skirt. Now in my previous video I showed you how to do the slit area. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want the raw edges to show, but preferably you can serge or overlock that part if you don't want to hem it, but I'm going to go ahead and do and hem it. By about 0.25 inches. We're almost done with the skirt. So this is very, very simple. I hem both sides And after hemming both sides, I'm going to sort of like do like a stitch 90 degrees to my zipper allowance stitch. Is it 90 degrees or 45 degrees? I think 90 degrees to my zipper allowance stitch, and that's it. So after ironing, one side is going to fold in, and that's it. The next thing I do is to hem the bottom of my skirt. Now, hemming sometimes make it look bulky, but what you can do is to overlock the edges and just fold it once and sew on your overlock stitch. Well, I decided to go with this, and basically we are done with my skirt. So if you like this tutorial on how I made my pencil skirt and the other ones before, please don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe to my channel. Click the bell to get notifications whenever I post a new video. So here is my skirt now. This is how the peplum looks. I'm going to show you the back. You can see it is low, and this is what I wanted. So thank you for watching. Bye guys.